If you've just received your brand new Hyundai rear roller mower and need to assemble it, then this is the video for you. Well, if you've got to this stage, congratulations. You've managed to wrestle it out of that well-packaged box and get it onto a table where you can assemble it, or the floor if you've got a bit of room. I'm not so great at bending down these days, so this is a nice height for me. Now, before you start, make sure you read the manual and read it well. There is a lot of great information in here. There's some great pictures about where the nuts and bolts go, even through to using the mower, and some great lawn mowing tips as well. It's really, really comprehensive. One of the best manuals that I've had with these sort of mowers, so it really is worth having a look. But for those of you who aren't too keen with the manuals, I'll put this together for you. You can see exactly how I do it, and if you can see me make a mistake, please shout out, or if you do something a little bit different, then please let me know. Right, let's get started by looking at the parts. So first of all, we've got a handy cup holder. Now this is great for putting the parts in as well. They all come in little plastic bags, and normally I'm searching around for a bowl or putting them on the table and I can't find them, but here they are in here. We've got a couple of little nuts and bolts over here, and then we've got some big nuts and bolts with the handy spinners on. These are so we can spin them on and off and make the handles flexible, so folding down for transport or for storage. The other thing we've got in here is the box spanner. That's for changing the spark plug, and we've got a hose end. Now if you've got a hose pipe at home and you don't have an end that goes on there, maybe you've got a sprinkler end, something like that, and you need one of these, this will fit on most hose pipes. It is pretty universal. It'll fit on there, and we can clip that onto the deck, and I'll tell you a bit more about that when we're putting it together, because you'll be able to see what I'm doing. But it's a handy little thing to have, that is. So right, we've got all our parts. I made sure they're all there as per the manual. So now we're gonna have to start to assemble the mower. We've got two pieces really. This handle here, which is the top handle where all the controls are side by side, and the cables. Make sure you move the cables out. In fact, that's a handy hint. Tuck these cables inside the mower frame, okay? Now, try not to put any stress on these cables. I've got a little table at the side of this table that I can just rest that on there, so it's not putting too much pressure on there, on these little cables, and doesn't stretch anything. So that's safely out the way. And now we put on the first handle. Now, first handle, make sure you get it the right way round, please. I've done enough of these and I still get them wrong sometimes, so just be warned. This handle has got the rope start sort of holder on there, and the rope start is on this side of the machine. So if we make sure that that goes on this side, we can't go far wrong. Now, it's a little bit difficult for me because I'm putting this together sort of for you to see, a little bit back to front, but we've got two heights for this. This square hole matches up at the top, and then we've got these two here. This one is the top hole, and that's the lower part, I think. And if we put it down to the bottom hole and match it up there with that matching up, that raises the handle up slightly. Now I know it's only a few millimeters down here, and because it's a few millimeters down here, you don't think it makes a difference, but by the time we get up to the top, it's a fair distance. And me being a tall person, I'll put mine on the high setting. In fact, it's even got a H and an L on there for you, so you can see those when you look closely. Now I'm going to put this on my side and see how we get on. I think I'm going to go for a big one of these first. Now I didn't separate them all out beforehand because sometimes you get mixed up with the shorter bolts. So if we make sure that we've got these with our ends on, we know exactly where they go. Now that's a good point. I nearly forgot. And I've done this lots of times. There's a saddle on there. As you can see, so it's saddle shaped, and this sits flush on this round pole. So where we've got the one with the square, it fits into there. Where we've got the one with the saddle, it fits into this hole here. Now, I'm matching these up. So it's this bottom hole that goes in. It's a bit difficult for me doing your side because it's the wrong way, but I'm sure I'll work it out. So it sits into there, and then look, we hold that, and that's that, sits proud. We turn it round and it sits flush. It's gone in there and it grips it tight. The washer goes on this side, and the washer just spreads the load, so when you put the handle back on, it doesn't push on too hard, and it doesn't wear away the plastic on there. So we can just spin these on, and hopefully, he says, a bit unconvincingly, we'll spin this on. It's hard one-handed. Definitely hard. Ah, I've got it. I'll rest the handle on my shoulder. Now, make sure you don't pinch any of the cables or move them too far out of the way, because we don't want to stretch them. Now, that's it. That spins up nicely. So that's that one done. Because that's saddle shaped, when I tighten that, that'll hold it. And as you can see, it's tight, but it will still move on there. So now then, we put in one of these. And this, as we said, has got the little square on there. So not only has it got the saddle to sit flush on the round tube, but it's got the square as well. So I don't know if you can see that very well, but there you go. So there's no washer with this one. Just goes through, turn it round, locks in place, and we spin the nut on. Now, the only tool we need to assemble these handles really is a spanner, and these here are a 13mm, I believe. Let me see, 13mm. Yeah, 13mm it is. So 13mm spanner, and this or socket, whichever you prefer. I prefer a socket really, because it's a bit easier, isn't it, to put them on with a little socket on a ratchet. But we can tighten this up. Once it's nice and tight, lock itself into place. Now these are nylock nuts on here, so whereas the plastic handles spin on quite easily, the nylock nuts need to be turned every millimetre of the way, all the way down. But because they've got that little thread in there, that little piece of nylon, it locks on, so when it vibrates, it won't come loose. Now when you're using a lawnmower, I know we're only putting it together, we're jumping ahead of ourselves, but when you're using a lawnmower, the engines vibrate, everything vibrates, there's a lot of moving parts, and these small plastic spinners, they do sometimes work themselves loose. So if you just give them a little tweak every so often, just to make sure that they're tightened up properly. Now, I'm just going to put the ones on my side, so hopefully a bit quicker. I'm just, in fact, going to change the height just so I can get to it, move the height handle out of the way. Now, same thing again, bolt goes through with the saddle on, and we're going for the one that says H, which is for high setting. Put the washer on that side, and we get that little handle, and we put it on. As soon as it's threaded, we spin it on, and it's as easy as that. That's that bit done. Look, so easy. Now we'll just put the locking one on the top, and I'll adjust the handle again, put it into a lower setting, just frees up a little bit of space so I can get to this. And then this block should just lift up and match up, I hope, he says. I say they're not normally far out really, these things. Well, might take a little bit of persuading if I undo that one slightly. Oh, I see why. The handle's got a bit of spring in it. I've got to give it a bit of pressure to push it in, but you just loosen these off and it goes in easily enough. So once that's on, now don't worry if you can't get the square drive into the hole straight away. As you tighten this up, it will pull itself in, and as it pulls itself round, you can just, let me see, give it a helping hand. There you go, when it clicks in. That's it. It just lines itself up basically, so it's quite easy to do. If you do have any problems, you can just slack these ones off over here, and you don't have to tighten them all up. Normally when I put things together, I work diagonally. I do the top one over there, bottom one here, bottom one, then top one. But because I'm trying to do it for your benefit, I do these two first, so it's not always straightforward after. But once we tighten this one up, should be the handle locked in place and pretty solid. And these are a robust machine. I'm sure you'll know if you've bought one and you've wrestled it out of the cardboard box. They do come very well packaged, and my goodness, they're built, aren't they? You lift them out, they're heavy weight. That's due to the rear roller in the back. There's a lot of metal in there and a lot of weight in there, and these we're metal decks all the way around, so they're sturdy bits of kit. Right, tighten that one up. See, this one goes a little bit slack after, so tighten that one up, tighten that up, tighten that up, and then that's it. We'll have to look at the other handle now. Now then, we're at the business end of the handle. We've got the controls up here, left and right, and a couple of handle stroke levers on the top. Now, like I said, these just clips up on the top and fit into these holes there and there. It's quite simple. You just have to make sure that your cables are on the inside of this black bit and this grey handle. If they're not, please take this off and switch it round now. Don't worry about getting it the wrong way round. I've done it plenty of times. I must have put hundreds of these mowers together and I still do it sometimes. So, and then next we've got these little handles, again, the quick release ones with a washer. Now again, they just pop through the outside. The saddle piece just sits onto the frame. There's no square in there to locate. The saddle sits on, locks in. When you tighten this up, it will just lock up and do it. Put the washer on the inside to make sure we don't crush anything and we don't wear out this little piece of plastic here. That's how that works. But with these, I'm going to take them apart first, because this handle that I'm going to hold up there is quite heavy. And with that being heavy, I need every bit of strength I've got. I don't want to be sort of spinning these off with one hand while they're up waving around in the air. So I'll put them down on the bench nice and neatly, and now we'll lift this up to where it's got to go. And again, I'll try and do your side first. So we'll put the bolt through. That's it. That's that one. Don't forget to put the washer on. So the washer's on, and then we can spin this on. This is the delicate bit because I don't want to push this too hard and push the bolt out of the hole. Straight on. There you go. Lucky today. This one through now. Now don't be fooled into thinking it's on and you can let go. Don't, because it will just fold down flat. Okay, so it's not until you do these up tight, it won't hold itself flat. It won't hold itself tight, sorry. Now again, this handle is sort of a bit of a spring, right? It's pushing itself away naturally. So when we tighten these up, we pull the metal in, and when these are held in tight, the metal's pushing away all the time. So when we've got vibration from working and mowing, etc., it will happily just sit there under a bit of tension. Now, I'm not sure with these cables which way I need to go with those on there. I've put them below this at the moment. I don't know if I can fit them over the top or whether that's putting too much pressure on. We'll see how that works out in a minute. Now, this sort of cable tied here at the bottom, I'll probably leave these cable ties on if I'm honest with you. I think because this one needs to come over to this side. This is where this cable clips in. So this one's a fixed cable on this side. This is your throttle cable and it's fixed over here. So I presume, in fact, no, yeah, it is. That's your accelerator cable, hare and tortoise. So it fixed over here. So I'll put this on like this. Now, when you put these clips on, you have the cable running down there nice and neat, and then there's a little bit slack in the bottom, which is just what we need really, because that's how they're supposed to sort of sit. Now I'll put the cable clips on. No, I won't put the cable clips on. I'll put these cable clips on. I forgot. There's a little bit of work to do up at the top end. We've got to put the end of these cables into the sort of levers, dead man's handle or operator handle. The reason they don't come like pre-packaged is because they fold it all up and put it in a box, and if they did that, there'd be a lot of tension on those cables and they might not be where they need to be by the time it gets to you. So you have to just pop them in, but we can put this mower down a little bit and we can have a look up there, and hopefully they should pop in no bother. Right then, this is probably the trickiest bit of the whole assembly operation, and it's not difficult if you follow the instructions properly. Now the instruction card is cable tied to the top on there, so that's on there, and not only does it show you how to put the cables into the correct handles, but it also shows you a little diagram and some few words on how to adjust the cables. As I said before, the instruction manual is very, very comprehensive. Probably one of the best I've read, I think. It's fantastic. There's a lot of information there. If you're like me and you're happy to sit down with a cup of tea and read it cover to cover, I think you'll find that quite an enjoyable read. But if you're not that way inclined, don't worry, because I'm going to show you how to do these now. Now, 2 cables. This is the top one. This is the operator presence control, I think, or whatever they call it now. It used to be called the dead man's handle. That's what it was. Basically, we pull this and then you pull the rope and away the mower goes. It starts the blade, it starts the engine, starts the blade, and that's the engine running. You let go of that, it will stop. That's it. There's no other fail safe to it. You let go and it stops. You let go both hands and it just cuts out. Stops the blade, stops the mower. That's it, straight away. This rear lever is for the acceleration, basically, or the drive. So we've got the levers here, which are showing on there for run and up to start, and then on here we've got the actual drive, whether we're going slow or whether we're going fast. Okay, so you can alter that, and there's a few different stages, I think, but we'll look at more of that when we're actually using it out in the field and doing a review. Can you tell I'm excited? I've got a large lawn and we've done a renovation project on it, and do you know what, the weather, we did the renovation project and it rained, and I thought, my goodness, here we go, and then it stopped, and it's just been blazing sunshine for week after week after week, and unfortunately we haven't got any irrigation there, and I thought everything had failed. There were more bare patches than when we started. I just didn't really know what to do, and I thought the only way I can sort of rescue it is by buying a nice rear roller mower to put some stripes in it somehow. But we've had some rain and the grass has grown again, so hopefully we'll get some beautiful stripes and they'll look even better because there's a little bit more grass on there as well and not so many bare patches. But we will redo the renovation and you can see this in all its glory. It's great for me to push this around my beautiful lawn at home, isn't it, and just say, oh, isn't this great? That's not how these things work, is you need to get out and about and test them properly. 70 square meters for a beast of a machine like this. We've got a 48 centimeter cut. You know, you need to give it something to run at, don't you? So anyway, enough of that. Let's put the handles together. Right, the top one here, this goes into the dead man's handle. Now, don't be shy, don't worry, you need to pull this out. Just pull it towards you and there you go. This clips out of the hole, okay? And then we put this in through there and it sits flat like that. That's it. Please don't put it in like this or put it in the other way round. It must sit in there and sit flat. And when that sits flat, there might be a little bit of tension now when we pull this back up. As you can hear, goodness me, there's a lot of tension in fact. So we'll pull this forward, look, to take the tension off, pull this down and clip that in, and then that is how that works. That's it. In fact, you might be able to hear it moving. That's that one done for down there. Now you've done one, so the second one should be easy, eh? Right, let's have a look. We'll pull this down. Oh, clip this in. Sorry, I need to turn it round a little bit. Clip that in through there, so that's that done. Again, we'll take the tension off, so we hold it out and we put it in, and there's your drive cable fitted. So that's it, we've assembled the mower. Just one last thing to do, and that's put the grass box together. The grass box then, wow, aren't we lucky? Hyundai thought of everything, put it in the carton for shipping, look, and it's already together as it should be. None of these clips that we have to try and poke in and wedge in. I do have some trouble with those. I don't know why. You shouldn't have trouble with them, but I do sometimes. So they're already in and done. All we have to do is literally clip the front of the net and the bottom of the net to the frame. Now there's a solid bottom to this grass bag, and I'll tell you what I do like about it is the shape. Look, we look at this shape here and we've got this grass bag and then there's a dip into there. So as we start to feed in grass from the mower, it flies up into the grass bag, and we're already giving ourselves a head start by dropping it down low instead of having a flat one that just comes back and we start piling the grass up straight away. So I think that's a good little thing on there. Now, to get these on, I'm going to put my neck on the line and say it's going to be quite simple, right? So that, in fact, it is. I'll just put the first one on. That's no bother at all while I was talking to you. And then the second one, that goes in there. And then the third one might be a little bit trickier because we'll have to have a bit of tension on there, and we pull it from one side, then the other, and then we just slide it across. It's as easy as that. How great's that? That was smart, wasn't it? Now, if you've got a normal mower, you're just about done then, aren't you, with your grass box and your handle assembly? But not with the new Hyundai one. We've got a drinks holder. So we'll get the mower back up on the desk, and we'll try and put this on and see where it goes. And also, I'll tell you what this is for as well. The bonus drinks holder then. Wow, I've never had a mower with a drinks holder. Not a pedestrian one. I've got a ride-on mower. Well, a fair few ride-on mowers. They've got drinks holders on, but I've never had a pedestrian mower with one. But seems to be coming all the rage now, and this is the first one I've got. So it comes with a couple of self-tapping screws. You just take a posi drive, and I'm presuming it fits into these holes here that are pre-drilled. They're not tapped because these are self-tapping screws that go in. So they're not tapped. So make sure you line up the holes, because these screws will bite and they will make a hole where there isn't a hole. They'll go straight in. So we'll put this on. I wouldn't suggest using an impact driver or anything on these, or an automatic screwdriver. You know, just nip them up by hand. You're dealing with a nice plastic case on here. You don't want to wreck your case day one, do you, by being too over enthusiastic. Right, that's on and done. I need a can to fit in there. I haven't got a can of drink around. I'll find one and I'll get back to you. Now I need to lift this back up onto the bench, because I forgot. We've got a couple of extra magic bits here that need to be shown, where these go, and also this bit as well. So give me 2 seconds, I'll lift it back up and we'll get done. Okay then, we're at the stage now where we're almost ready to start mowing. But as it says on the label, this machine is shipped without engine oil and fuel, right? Now, there is some engine oil in there because they put engine oil in first of all to test the engine. They have to do it. That's what they do. That's why they offer you a warranty, because they know it is working. And then they drain the oil out of the engine. Now, once the engine's been turned over a couple of times, it's very, very hard to remove all the oil from the engine. You get a bottle of engine oil with it, right? And it's 600 ml capacity. And the engine is 600 ml capacity. But be warned, do not tip the 600 ml straight in, because it will be too much. On the plus side, you can put in about 300, 400 to start with and see where you are, and you should have some left in the bottle, and then you can put that on the shelf, and over time, when it starts to use a little bit of oil, you can top the oil back up. But just make sure when you take the cap off, like I did, you do not pull out the cardboard and rip the cardboard, because when you put the lid back on, it won't make a very good seal. So we'll have to stand it upright on the shelf. If it gets tipped over in the back of your truck, you're going to have a bit of a mess on your hands. So be warned. Right, putting the oil in. Easy as, we just undo the dipstick from here and pull it up. Now, this is in the way. It does say in the manual, before you get to this stage, pull this out and lock it on up there. I don't do that because I don't know how long this has been sat around. It might have been tested 6 months ago in shipping and wherever else, a warehouse, and all the oil that's in there is at the bottom of the sump. I don't really want to pull this with bare metal pulling against bare metal inside, so I just try and minimise any risk. You know, these things, they're a good investment, and if you look after them, they will last a long time. So do what you can to protect them. Now, this is easy. That's locked and it's on, that's unlocked and it's out. Now, when we're testing the oil, a lot of these mowers, they have different ways of how we dip the oil. With these, we drop it down so it rests on top. We don't screw it on and lock it. We just drop it down so it rests on top, okay? And then we check the height. Now, should have on there, there's, oh, see, it's almost up to the low already. Now we've got a, if I can hold it round, we've got a high there, and we've got a low mark there, and we've got a cross section in between. Now the cross section is where you want to be. You don't really want to be any higher than high. If you do get that way, you need to take some out. It's almost as dangerous as running it without enough oil in it. You're having too much oil, it doesn't do it any favours at all. So somewhere in the middle, you want to be sort of like 3/4 of the way up that hatched area, really. That's where I'll aim for. Not saying that's where I'll get, but that's where I'll aim for. Right, put this down, it's on a clean bench, and I should have a funnel somewhere. I have indeed. I've got one, so it's the only thing that this kit doesn't come with is a funnel. So the funnel's there, and I will just pour some oil in. Now go steady, because it's quite narrow. Now I've put in just over half of that bottle, I think. So we're down to here on there, which is, there's 200 ml left or thereabouts. So I'll put 400 ml in, and I've got a little bit of tissue. Rags probably preferable to tissue, but it will do. And then we'll just put that over there. Now I've got an engine table. I'm not putting it on this board. I've got an engine table behind, and any spillages go down in the grooves and into a little tub underneath it, which I can collect. Very handy tool to have. Right, now get the dipstick, and we'll just drop that in. Let's give it a couple of seconds just to ease its way down to where it needs to be. And we'll drop that in, and we'll pull it out. Well, Jimmy, I think you've done this before, because that's not far off at all, really. I might need a spot more, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's get a clean piece and just rub that off. Just let that sit in there and see where we get to. Right. I don't know if you can see on there, but I think that's just below the H bit, about 3/4 of the way up. So yeah, I'd probably go for about 400 ml to start with, I think. Maybe a little bit less than that, and then see how you get on. There's always some left in, because you can't drain it out, but that's the idea. It needs to coat the parts. That's what has to happen. Now the oil's in. Now we can move this handle, but what we must make sure is that the handle's up at the top. Even though our wires are in, we've got the throttle lever on low and this one on stop, okay? So it just cannot go anywhere. So it's on run, it cannot go anywhere, all right? So you don't want to be pulling this with this sat up on here and it starts. So without those handles being pulled in, there's no way it can go. So we'll just lift this out. Might be a bit of a struggle first off. Goodness me, it is. Whoa, that's hard going. No wonder they advised to do it earlier on when you stood behind the handles. Right, oh, not quite there yet. Hold on. Oh, that's it. We've got a bit now. And we'll just twist it onto there, if I can. I think that's it. We'll try and work that out if that's not how it should be, but that's in the holder up there, and then we're just about done. Now there's two little pieces. Hold on, if I can put my hand on them, or three little pieces. One, we've got the box spanner here. If you need to change a spark plug or check the spark plug, this fits it perfectly. You just put the little bar through the top, put that onto the end of the spark plug, turn it, and out it should come. This, as we said earlier, fits over here on this side. Unfortunately, you can't see where it fits, but you'll hear it click. So it clicks on and off. So that's that. Clicked on and off there, because that is your washing port over there. Put that on the end of your hose, clip it onto there, turn the hose on so it's running, there's water running through. You can turn the lawnmower on, pull it so the blade's engaged and spinning round, and it throws water up and round the deck and rinses it all out, which is a great thing, really. They've started to introduce these on a lot of mowers, and I think they're really handy, especially for homeowners when you're only using these machines sort of once a week or maybe twice a week, and you can clean them out in between. With us using them professionally every day, it's not so important, is it? We're just out and we're just using it and using it and using it. But with that grass sitting underneath there for a prolonged period of time can cause a bit of corrosion. You know, we don't, as we said before, we want to keep these machines in tip-top condition. And then last of all, we've got these two little pieces. And you wonder, what are these for, Jimmy? I'd have thrown those away as part of the packaging. Well, we've got a grass box, haven't we, that fits on the back, if I can find that wherever I've put it. Give me 1 second. Here it is. We've got our grass box that fits on the back, and that goes on so easily. Right, just clips on, and that's our grass box on. No bother at all. Fits there snugly over the roller. Job done. Look at that, nice and tight. Brilliant. Well, that little concave in the bottom drops the grass into the bottom of there. Fits over the roller. The roller enables is allowed to turn and put some nice stripes in your lawn. But sometimes, especially when it's really dry, we don't always want to collect everything off, and these are to allow us to put some grass back on. So they clip into two little holes behind there. Now you can't really see that from where you are, but you can see it holds this up. It doesn't let it flap down like it does. When you take that off, that's shut tight, so you can't, no grass will really come out. It just lifts it up to about there. So keep these safe if you can. Put them in a drawer somewhere, put a label on them, make sure you remember what they are. When we test it, I'll put those in and we'll have a little go and see how it works out. But I think that's about it, really. We can go through the height adjusters and everything else when we're out testing it on the grass. So please make sure you click down below into the description to find out the latest prices of these machines. Any comments, anything nice to say, actually, pop it in there as well. Anything that I haven't done, that I should have done, or you'd have done differently, please let me know. And make sure you check out the description as well, because in there will be a link to the review video for this. So thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope this has been of some help to you. I'm Jimmy the Mower. I will catch you on the next one.